Okay, so just a few more with the inverse. Say we actually want to take, I don't know, trig functions of an inverse. So we can do these in a few ways. We're going to show one way here and then another way in the next video. So say we want to do sine of tan inverse of 0. So biggest thing to remember is that tan equals sine over cos. So tan is going to be 0 where sine is 0. So let's look at our unit circle, because this isn't on our chart. So if I look at our unit circle, the 1s and 0s tend not to be on our chart. Then sine is 0 at 0. That is in the range for tan inverse, because don't forget the range for tan inverse is here. So tan theta is going to be 0 when theta equals 0. When theta equals 0. So tan inverse 0 is just 0. So really, I'm just looking for sine of 0. Well, sine of 0 is also right here. So sine of 0, that's where 0 is. Sine is my y, that's 1, 0. So sine of 0 is also 0. So sine of tan inverse 0 will just be 0. It's kind of like when we were doing functions and we were subbing a function into another function. Same idea. So let's do sine inverse of -1. So sine inverse of -1 we'll look at first. And again, that's saying what is my sine that would give me -1. Again, -1 doesn't come from my chart, so I'm going to draw a unit circle. For sine, I only have to care about this part. And sine is my y's, so I'm really going to be looking at this as 0 and -1. So if I look at that, since my range goes from -pi over 2 to pi over 2, that is going to be -pi over 2. So sine inverse of -1 is just -pi over 2. So now I'm looking for cosine of -pi over 2. Well, -pi over 2 is just here, still, hasn't moved. Cosine is my x, so that's just going to be 0. Okay, so let's look at sine of cosine inverse of 5. So cosine inverse has the range of just this, and the highest it gets up to is 1. Cos is my x, the highest it gets to is 1. Lowest it gets to is -1. Never gets to 5. So again, this is out of my domain. So, undefined. Okay, so let's look at sine of cosine inverse of -square root of 2 over 2. So again, I'm going to look for cosine inverse first. I need it to be -square root of 2 over 2. Cosine is negative on this side, because that's where my x's are negative. So I'm going to go ahead and pull out my chart, and I'm going to say, where is cosine where's cosine square root of 2 over 2? So right there, cosine's my x, so pi over 4. So I'm looking for pi over 4, but I'm looking for pi over 4 on this side, so whatever the pi over 4 is over here. So pi over 4 away from pi, so that would be, here would be pi, so I'm looking for 4 pi over 4 minus pi over 4 would be 3 pi over 4. So cosine inverse of -2 over 2, -square root of 2 over 2 is 3 pi over 4. So now I'm trying to find the sine of that. Well, over here, my sine is still positive because my sine is my y's, and this is 3 pi over 4. And so it's a positive, and at pi over 4, my sine is also square root of 2 over 2. So this would just be positive square root of 2 over 2. Okay.